Hey there, everybody. Happy Terrific Tuesday. As you guys know, today is day one of Meditation March. Mr. Tavares is with me. We're having a little sound difficulties on his end, so I don't want you guys to think that we're not here and that we're not trying to show up. We are here, but sometimes connections are a little faulty. No big deal. Here he comes again, so we'll try it. But I wanted to invite you guys to come with us and enjoy this meditation march. We hope to bring you. Can you hear me okay now?
I can hear you perfectly. Yeah, brilliant.
Yes. So again, sorry for the little bit of time that we were late. We were just trying to deal with technical difficulties, which is awesome. So we just need to keep going live more because as we know, when you're having issues with things, your best thing is to just get better at it, right?
Absolutely.
So get better. What is Meditation March? Why are we here? What are we here to do? I'll give you my version of it, and then Mr. Tavares will give you his version of it. For me, this is just a simple step into understanding or looking at meditation as something that is not scary, for one. Two, that you don't have to be a professional person to go through some kind of a master class to learn how to meditate, that you can start from where you are and that you can grow, and that it is like anything else. You can go from the small and simple into the really big and robust. And so it can grow with you if you allow it. And just more importantly, to kind of take some of that taboo feel out of meditation and why it's actually changed lives and how it's changed lives, and that you can be a part of that too. And we'll go deeper into that. But how do you, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Amy, there's so many different cultures across the world who practice meditation without actually calling it meditation. And it's really interesting because many monks and many sisters in the church practice a form of meditation when they go through the stations of the cross at this particular point of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they contemplate the passion of Christ as they go through the different stations of the cross and meditate in a way that kind of puts them there, and they envision. They do. It can get quite deep. Some people envision being there and experiencing what it might have been like to be a person at that time who was watching the leader being persecuted in such a way, and also praying and being very prayerful and thankful for what he did. So there's that side of it as well, and it can be attached to religion. It can be very meaningful for people who practice different faiths, actually. And you see a lot of people who practice Buddhism do a lot of Zen meditation. People who practice Hinduism also do certain meditation forms that they find very useful. So it's there in many different cultures, and it's not that it's something from the East or something from the West. It's not at all. It's something that human beings have evolved to become. And that's the reason why we are so much more than just animals. We are much better off because we are able to focus our minds in a particular way. And we're also able to, animals can't multitask. And, people talk about multitasking being a bad thing, but actually it's amazing. It's an evolution. Why destroy something like that? Of course, you need to know when multitasking is becoming damaging. So meditation is amazing because it can be for many things, far more than just quietening the mind. Quietening the mind is good for someone who's overthinking and overanalyzing too much, but it doesn't necessarily have to be for that either. It can be for achieving goals and so much.
And, I think that's really important. So I say this again, there's so many different levels of meditation, but what I'm finding right now with the pandemic, or maybe it's just the particular clients that I am coaching at this time, one of the things that I'm really introducing meditation for is to actually stop the racing. It's to stop the anxiety. It's to stop the worries. And I'm not here to say that there's not going to be something tomorrow that may pose that that reason for worry or that reason. So like I tell them, you're not wrong for going to your natural senses, which is to worry, or which is to protect, or which is to fear. And so I introduce it as a way of finding hope in that, and finding stillness within, and realizing that you're not that animal in that wheel in your mind, that there is a separate, there's this space in between, but we don't really know that. And we discussed this when we were on our live the other day, about how people feel like the mind comes engineered and action packed to deliver you your life, like it's already set up, it's already got its code, it's already, and so it runs us.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite stories, and I think I told this before, was the story of how there's the young monk, and he's sitting under the tree, and he's reading a book peacefully, and then all of a sudden one monk goes by, flying by on a horse, and he asks the monk, like, hey, what are you in a hurry for? Where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I don't know, ask the horse. And it's like, so that's what happened, is so many people, they literally get drugged by thoughts, and they don't even understand that they have control of the horse. It's a separate deal. It's a separate deal. And so there's freedom once they actually are able to say, hey, the peace is in me, the rest is within me. So, and you're right. And that's just really, taking the tip off the iceberg when it comes to just being still. That's one of many beautiful things for meditation. So I will ask you, when was your first experience with meditation?
Oh, that's a very good question. I mean, I've been thinking deeply about this, and I think my first answer was wrong, actually. I mean, I became very meditative quite early on. I had a friend at school who I'd go to his house. He lived around walking. It was around 10 minutes walk from where I lived.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd go to his house, and then we had a falling out, and I'd still go, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually sit outside his house, just wait to be let in. Yes, yeah, I know. It's silly, but I would sit there and I'd knock, and he'd look, and then just not let me in. So, but in the end, I just sat there. I didn't even knock. I just go there and I just sit there, and it just sounds really silly, but I would actually enjoy just sitting there in the hope that he'd let me in. But I was actually enjoying just sitting there and being really still, actually. And I did that for a year. But yeah, I became very happy with my own company, and that's probably why I've dealt with this situation a lot better than other people, because I'm just happy alone as well as with people. I do love people, I do connect with people, but I'm also happy alone. And I can enjoy my company. As people have asked me, why did you go to the cinema by yourself? Why did you go for a meal by yourself? I'm just comfortable doing that sometimes. I go with many people and I have loads of friends, but I like to do that as well. And that's always been me. So that's where I became meditative, and I didn't know it. And then I explored meditation with books, looking at books, just to calm my mind during my schooling, and because I lived in a very dangerous area, part of London, so I wanted to keep calm. I just felt unsafe. So that's a very good question, actually, Amy. And there's so many ways in which I've done that. Just looking at things, looking at objects, and thinking of how they were created, who painted a particular painting, or who composed a particular piece of music.
Wow. So you were kind of doing meditation before you realized you were meditating. You didn't understand but you started, you understood the feeling of peace. You understood while you were sitting there on the porch that there was that peace that was it. It's very interesting. I can't say that I had the same story. Well, I'll take that back. I don't know that it was meditating, but I do remember through some of when I was being moved home to home as as a kid, I got to this home where there was actually horses. And so I would go and watch the horses, and in the horses, as they would run, I would find freedom in myself. So I believe that you can do, we talked about people who don't close their eyes when they meditate. In fact, you had a client who could not do that. They could not close their eyes when meditating. So I hope that we can establish that too, that there's not, I think when you think of the word meditation, you think I have to sit in the Indian style position and I have to close my eyes and be by a water fountain and hear birds chirping. And, you create this is what meditation is. But let me tell you, the first time that I actually dove into meditation, I was never introduced to it. So let me go here. Being that I really didn't have, I want to say, a true religious foundation, meaning that every home I went into, they celebrated a different type of religion, which is great for me because I got to see different types of religion and kind of make my own choice. Some people don't do that. They kind of follow whatever their family did. So I always thought that if I was meditating, that I was going against maybe some of the religions that I had learned, that it was kind of taboo. Like if I was Christian, this was an act of Buddhism or an act of Taoism or whatever it was. And so I kind of felt that I shouldn't. One, not just because there wasn't a fear thing there. It was I didn't want to disrespect a religion thing. Like, what if and I don't know the proper, ohms and this and that, or, am I going to be disrespecting somebody's culture? Am I going to be disrespecting religion?
Oh, I see.
So I didn't want to just jump into it and they go, oh, well, you're not qualified to meditate. You're of a Christian, or you're of a Catholic, or you're of a this or that. So there was that separation in my mind of, am I even allowed to meditate because it belong to the Buddhist, or does this belong to whoever? Am I allowed to, am I embarking on something and I'm being disrespectful to it, right?
Yes.
When I first started, I had started reading a lot of Thich Nhat Hanh at that time, and he was pretty foundational as far as giving me the understanding that peace is for you, and peace is for me, and peace is for the birds of the air, and it's not about a act as much as it is a belief. So it doesn't matter if you're doing it wrong or right, if your intention love and your intention is understanding and oneness with source and all those things, then you're on the right track. So the thing about that was, okay, now that I spiritually felt free enough to go ahead and meditate, what do I do? Right? So I tried to go to YouTube and watch videos. That didn't work out. So then I said, okay, let me just try this thing with sitting with myself. Let me try that, because when have you ever said, I am going to intentionally, not because I'm in a long line waiting, not because I'm in the car waiting for somebody to come out, that I'm going to intentionally, that I'm not even going for a walk, I'm going to intentionally sit, close my eyes, and try to find me. Because I, this whole time, have thought that this was me. We're taught that this is you, right? They call you by name. They identify you by a picture. They classify you by rank. So your whole life, you're taught that this is who you are.
Yes.
So I said, well, let me go find this other person that's aching for more, because it can't be this person. This person is going, I've had enough. But there's something inside that says, I want more. So I sat there and I closed my eyes for, I'm going to say, probably all of 5 or 6 seconds. And the minute I closed my eyes, I could hear the traffic, the birds, the people screaming, a door slamming. I heard better than I heard with my eyes open. Okay. So I was like, oh, this isn't good. Like I'm, and then thoughts, what are you doing? Did you forget to do the dishes? Did you forget to, did you lock your car? Is the garage door up? Is this, every thought in the world that could happen happened. And so I became frustrated. And so what I did is I stopped and I said, I'll try again tomorrow. And I tried it again and tried it again. And then I noticed that, okay, well, my eyes are closed, but I'm seeing dots and I'm hearing everything. But where do I go? Where do I go? What am I looking for? So it was like, I wanted it because, like I said, there was something inside of me screaming out saying, I'm in here. You've been living here, but I'm in here. And so I knew I had to search it. So from there, I just kept going. I now am at a point where I can sit and meditate. I can do walking meditation. I can do sitting meditation. I can do And it's not that I have to do it, it's I crave it. My soul needs it, because that's a place I get to go that this doesn't get to go. It's a
Yeah.
place that this gets to go, that reminds me that I'm separated from what this world sees, and separated from what the mind thinks. And so I hope that in today, you, between you and I, we can help put it into terms that people understand that it's okay to start right from where you are. So
Yeah.
that's my experience with meditation. I, like we talked about the other day, there's different types, they name them different things: mindfulness, spiritual,
Yeah.
focus, um, mantra, movement, transcendental, progressive
Yeah.
relaxation, loving kindness,
Mhm.
visualization,
Mhm.
different kinds of meditation. But today, we're just going to give you what we can, and Saturday we'll give you more.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, shall we do basic contemplation? I mean, I'll I'll hold up a picture
Okay.
in a moment, and I'll just kind of talk you through what's on the picture. But we'll start with that, because the way I'm thinking of today is people are very external facing and realistic most of the time. So they see things, and they only believe that they can experience them if they see them.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's the way I'm going to start, is with a picture,
Okay.
and then slowly draw us in further and further and further and further.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to use music, but not right away. Music is external as well, but let's start with our vision. That's the first thing we use, isn't it?
Yes.
So of the five senses that we have, we start with our vision, provided that vision isn't impaired. And if we have any blind viewers, I have done meditations with blind people, and actually they are able to follow the instructions much better than people who can see, which is amazing.
Yep.
So I'm going to hold up a picture here in such a way that I think you can see most of it.
Yes.
Right? So it's a picture, it's a painting, it's not a John Constable or anything expensive. It's an inexpensive painting, but for me, it's rich. And if you look at it, you can see a lot of detail. You can see nature,
Yes.
and all I want you to do is look at it and think of all the things that I suggest. So think of the nature that lives in the trees.
Mm.
Think of the birds, think of all the insects, and think of the microscopic level. So think of the bacteria, the viruses. Think of all their roles on the planet that we live on. And think of what you don't see.
Mm.
I'm not going to put anything in your mind, but think of what you don't see. Now, most people will think of below the surface of the lake,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also the roots of the tree. And so the roots of the tree extend deep down and are around twice the size of the actual tree.
Wow.
So it's really interesting, because then you think of things in a different way, that everything is connected quite deeply and intimately.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think deeper about the artists themselves and whether this place actually exists, or whether this place exists in the mindscape of the artist, and what state of mind the artist has, you
Right.
think maybe they have a calm state of mind, but maybe they don't. See, so there's a lot that you can do with a simple picture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That in itself was a meditation. So, you look deeply at anything, you
That's right. That's
focus deeply on anything.
Right.
That is very powerful. And, when you focus and you imagine, you are visualizing with open eyes.
Right.
So, that's powerful. So for me, just doing that, looking at the painting, thinking about it, thinking about the artist, thinking about how I can apply something from what I've seen to my life, then, that's powerful. And if your state of mind is positive, perhaps you see positive things.
Mm-hmm.
The state of mind is not so positive. Perhaps you think of the trees being cut down. So what are you looking at? How are you analyzing the picture? And then you can think of maybe alternative ways to see the picture in a better light.
And so let me just, I'm going to clarify what this does. Many times when we go throughout our day, and like Paul had explained, we are with these live things, right? Cars, buses, horns, phones, animals, deadlines, just everyday stuff. Our ability to actually stop can be hard. And one of the ways that can actually bring you to a point of it's like you said, I don't like where they say mindfulness, because you're really trying to just not think and not do. And you say, well, how do you do that? One of the ways I have done this too, I do this with nature. A lot of times I'll find a focus point. I'll go outside and I'll find it's in the garden for me. I can go to the garden and I can look at a rose, and there is nothing else going on. Everything else just, it disappears. It's like, situations become like rolling fog. So this is one way, great example. We probably all have a picture in our house, or we probably all have something, even it could be a dish or I think in one thing that I read, they talked about finding just a spot on the wall and just trying,
yes.
to get into that. And what does that do? It just brings you back. It brings you back. And when we're here to create. So the fact that I went into that picture that you just put in there, and I saw, just for me and my own, I saw the bears that I couldn't see. I seen them walking behind the
brilliant
trees, and I seen the birds that I couldn't see in the picture. And I thought about the roots were something I thought of. I wondered, did they go past the water, under the water? Are they too? And I'm one of those people that I could stay there for quite a while. So. Yes. That's one way to do that. That's really, really, really good. That's really good.
Okay, yeah, so. I mean, I remember when the so we in the UK we have parks called national trusts, and in each park there's a stately home, and you can go in and you can go inside, and there are huge paintings. And I'd always go in and I'd just look at the paintings, the details. I mean, some of them are worth around £4 or £5 million each, maybe even more. So wow. They're very expensive. Wow. At least. So you look at them and the detail. And I mean, there are some paintings where, you just wonder, what was the artist thinking when they painted that? But what I really like about your posts, Amy, like the nice posts that you put up with the positive messages, you can meditate on those as well. Today is your day. And, those words can find themselves into someone's mind who really needs it. Right. And so, all those little posts, but powerful posts that you put up are bound to make a difference at the subconscious level for people. When you surround yourself with imagery, when you feed your mind words, that's a way in which you can create the same state as a meditation. And meditating on those words that you post is a great way to again, meditate, just looking at today is your day, or I've got another one here. You only live once. There we go. So you only live once. And I've seen people comment on your post saying that, I really needed that today. I really needed that today. I've seen that. That's brilliant. And that person may have looked at it and thought, I was going to scrap my dream. but you only live once. Hmm.
Mhm.
That that's for me. I'm gonna
Yeah.
act on that. I don't care what this person has said to me and or how this situation has come up. I'm still gonna go for it. And that really could have made a
Right.
difference in someone else's life just through looking at that and meditating on it long enough rather than meditating on the words of negativity from somewhere or someone else.
So that's really important to me too, is that sometimes when, I guess for me, and I would love to be corrected if, or hear your opinion on, for me, I don't go into meditation. I guess I reach for a lot of higher thoughts before I go into meditation. Let's say I've had a bad
Mm.
day and I'm really not feeling it, and I'll go and I'll walk and I'll bring myself to a point of, I won't, basically what I'm saying is I won't go into meditation like a hot fire. I go into
Yes.
meditation like, okay, I've reached for, a better thought and a better thought and a better thought. And so when I go into this meditation, I'm going into it. So those words are really important, because if you can't find a higher reaching thought at that moment and you see words like what you had put on there, those words can help you get to a better spot so
Yes.
that you can go into that and feel the positive vibes of going into meditation. Because there's some people who go, oh, I'm ticked off, I'm going to go meditate, and I
Yeah.
just don't know how productive that is.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I've seen a yoga teacher come out and scream at someone who was making some noise outside the studio, and then go back in. Oh gosh. But anyway, but that being said, I mean, that's her class. So
Yeah.
be it. But yeah, I mean, I think gradually taking yourself into a positive state. One of my Tai Chi masters, actually, many years ago, said, "Don't practice Tai Chi in a negative state."
Mm,
So there he was very firm about that, and he said, the first thing you need to do is just do a meditation, because when you do Tai Chi, it pulls your energy up, and whatever energy you have, it amplifies that energy. So I suppose, I mean, there's that aspect. It can do that. But what I tend to do is, like yourself, Amy, I do some positive affirmations with my students, and
mm,
then I do some Qigong exercises, which is like Tai Chi.
right.
But there are specific exercises that help to make you feel a little bit better. And
Okay.
then I teach the Tai Chi forms, or long forms, short forms, whatever forms they are, because those they facilitate the flow of energy, but they don't bring your energy to a particular state. They don't make it more positive. In my experience, I mean, maybe someone else out there has a different experience, but in my experience, Tai Chi helps with many things. It can change the state of mind, but doing a bit of Qigong that is specific is always a good way, in my opinion.
That's good. And I guess my philosophy behind it is when you go into something expecting to receive from, source, or from, you're coming in, if you're blocked, if there's resistance there, or if there's negativity there, then I just don't see, maybe it'll just take you longer, which is why breathing techniques, right, are important
Mm-hmm.
to learn, because you can get off a lot of that steam, so to speak, before you actually go into the quiet. So, you had me do a breathing technique last time, and I just, it, no matter where you're at, it is so awesome to feel that transition when you breathe, of how maybe anxious or uptight you were, that can kind of bring you back, because oxygen is a pretty amazing thing. So when
Yes,
you
yes.
start really messing with your breathing, it really has an interesting component to it. Now, I know for when you're saying the meditate with the words, do you suggest we do, like, for instance, I do a Muji one that
Mm-hmm.
says, I am pure awareness, I am. And
Ah,
I do that for a complete 5 minutes. Now, that's my go-to, that I go to when I really start to feel like I'm just not where I need to be. Like I'm forgetting this thing that I'm spirit in a human body, and I'm feeling very human. instead of spirit. So what I'll do is I'll go in and try to regroup myself with that from time to time. That's always my, doesn't happen often, so to speak, but when I really start to lose a little bit of my peaceful footing, I'll go back to, mantras, or I'll go back to sayings. So when we say meditate with these words, do you suggest we just say them out loud and sit and just continue to see them and say them? Like, how would you suggest when we say meditate with them, what does that mean?
That's very, very interesting. I mean, if you hear something in your own voice, that's very powerful, actually, because if you just say it in your mind, it doesn't resonate at the right energy. It doesn't resonate at the right frequency. I mean, all words have an energy signature attached to them, and that's science. Actually, that is science. If I want to put a baby to sleep, I make this noise, shh, put the baby to sleep. But if I want to silence someone else, a grown up, I do this. And that's very different. It can work. So it depends. Or maybe I'll get told off myself. Who knows? But it's the noise and how you make the noise that has an effect on the human system. And it's interesting because the noise sounds like falling rain.
Right.
Yeah, and sounds like running water.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all those things have an effect on the mind. So saying things out loud in your own voice is more calming than someone else's voice, because you trust yourself. You should trust yourself more than anyone else, I think. It's very, very, very important to remember that, if you record maybe your own voice as an affirmation, or as, some mantra that resonates with you. It doesn't have to be Om if you don't want to say something religious. It doesn't have to be a prayer. It doesn't have to be anything. Just relax, be calm. Relax, be calm. All will be well. Something like that. We all have mobile devices. We can record these things and play them back over and over and over. And yes, it is brainwashing, but it's positive brainwashing, isn't it? So it's better to be brainwashed by yourself than by some negative news that you've watched on the television.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've got some breathing techniques, and, I'm going to incorporate some of what we did last time, but I'm going to take it a bit further and just slowly draw us sort of inwards, further and further. And then when we've calmed the mind down to the extent that we can use it in a sensible way, then we'll use the mind to sort of start to create more calm and more focus. So the aim is to sense, to focus on the thoughts a little bit, but not follow them, to focus on the environment, to focus on as much as we can, and then focus on the breathing, and then focus on controlling our breathing using our mind.
Right.
So going deeper and deeper inwards, but not into a state of trance, more into a state of focused control. Okay, so I don't know, when should we try that, Amy? Is now a good time?
Do it.
Watching
34 minutes into our recording. Let's do it in 10 minutes, so the last 15 can be about all actual practice, hands-on. So if somebody were to come to you, because I know that this is what people want to know, if they were to come to you and say, why meditate?
Yeah. Why meditate? Well, that's a very good question. There are hundreds of benefits, literally hundreds. You can envision an outcome. You can focus your mind to achieve the outcome, and you can focus it to the extent that you actually get that thing. And without going too deep into the law of attraction and things like that, but if you focus on going into a job interview and you imagine doing well, you see yourself there, you focus on perhaps answering the questions well, and you do that for 5 minutes or so, you'll find that you are more relaxed in the interview. I mean, there have been many studies done on this. And
Right.
at the extreme end, if you focus on healing whilst injured, there have been countless studies shown that you actually redevelop muscle tissue by focusing on a workout that you didn't do. So if you do a workout in your mind, strangely, your body thinks it's actually done the workout, and you develop muscle mass. You imagine, if you imagine going to the gym, putting your clothes on, your gym clothes, using several pieces of equipment, sweating, feeling tired, but feeling really happy with yourself, you actually do develop muscle mass. And I can vouch for that because I was out of commission so many times. I just thought people knew that. I said to my karate instructor once, he said, "Have you been training at all?" I said, "Yeah, well, I've been through the katas in my head." And he
Right.
just looked at me as if, what are you saying? But I had done that, and it actually did help. And it wasn't just because I've been through the sequence, but I actually did retain a lot of strength
Yeah.
whilst injured. So it did work. I mean, the best example I can give, Amy, for to anyone is, if you explore your mind, it's not just that you will learn ways to calm it. You will learn to regenerate ligament strength, damaged tissue, to the extent that even a doctor will tell you something, and you can still try. I suffered a very bad injury in India, and I was in a wheelchair. And my left leg was so badly damaged, I tore many ligaments, and they did MRIs on my leg. And the doctors told me, "You're finished." That's what they told me. But I felt a little sad. And then a lot of people around me told me, what you're doing is going against what the doctor said. Why are you bothering to try?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I said, well, I know. And they said, yeah, well, this is a doctor. They're all doctors.
Right.
You're a nobody. I thought, okay. But I said, I understand that. I'm very respectful of that. And I
Right.
will take medical advice seriously. But I'm going to try anyway, because, I'm finished anyway. Anything above finished is good for me.
Right.
So I tried. Yeah, I tried. And it was interesting because it took me only a month, rather than having lost this ability to walk for life. And I redeveloped my strength. And when they did the MRI on my leg, and I've got the MRI scan above my cupboard actually, they said that the muscle in my leg had grown into where the ligament should be and has replaced my ligament, interestingly. And they said, that's near impossible. You shouldn't be walking around, and we need to do more. I said, no, it's all right. I'm happy now. I can do all the things I could, and actually, I can do much more. So I don't know many doctors who can do half the things I can do at the moment. So, I was very pleased with the outcome. And I think that I'm very respectful of science as a scientist. I've studied science. I've studied it to a high level, but it's not got all the answers. There's a lot more. There's a lot that science is always constantly disproving about itself. I think no one system has all the answers. We've got to come together and try and find a better way.
And it's Thank you for that. And congratulations on the strong strength of mind in order to fix the body. Because I will tell you, I'm a big Joe Dispenza fan. And Dr. Joe Dispenza had a
Oh,
familiar situation. Was,
all right.
I guess it's called a whatever you do on a bike and you compete, triathlon, whatever that's called. And so
Mhm.
he was riding his bike and they had told him to keep going. And I guess it was in a blind corner. He got hit by like a Bronco or SUV. He was
Oh,
in a wheelchair and they told him he wouldn't walk. And they had showed him the x-rays and they had multiple people come and tell him that he was either going to have a surgery or but the chances of him actually being able to walk after the surgery were still slim. And he went home and he mentally self-corrected and
wow.
of course is walking now. He's all over. And that's who I really got interested in transcendental meditation with, was because I've literally seen people heal themselves.
Hmm.
Here's what I think, and this is probably where I'm going to gain some fans or I'm going to lose some. I believe that we're always at some system, some level of meditation, because I think we've meditated on what we find is the truth. So there's a lot of this world that we have created around us because we've meditated so long unknowingly on what we think we're limited to. And so we brought into our system, our ecosystem of self, of life, the very things that we meditated on. And if it is poverty, if it is stress, if it is strain, if it is feeling fearful, if it is anger, we have then allowed our minds to create atmospheres that have to show that reflection, that have to show that truth. And our body is just the poor little counterpart that gets pulled along with it. So if you're feeling that you can't do something, or if you're feeling, that's why you see people who lose weight and then they turn around and gain it back because they never stop feeling like the fat person. They never stop feeling like the person who was worthy of a better body. They never stopped, they never felt like the person worthy of a better situation. So they have, I guess you could say, unconsciously meditated their life. So when I think about why meditate, I go, well, we've been sleepwalking in meditation in the wrong way for how long? Why not own your meditation? Get out of your sleepwalk, get out of your deep sleep, and actually go in and start to create this life that you can have. Just like now you're walking and now you have muscle where a ligament was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so I think that we have to remember that the mind is going to do what it's going to help us develop whatever it is that the mind's going to be drugged into doing. So when people ask me why meditate, I say it was because it was my looking glass into creativity, into healing, into freedom. Instead of becoming a result of what the world has been, I was able to actually go inside and create a world within. So um, there, to me, it's just you're always meditating whether you know it or not. You're either blindly meditating into your world that you're creating, or you're choosing to meditate and choosing to create. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Absolutely. It's interesting you said that about someone who has excess body fat. I mean, I had that for a while, and I didn't use any meditation or visualization to change my mindset.
Mhm.
But I did a lot of exercise, and it's quite interesting. I did lose a lot of weight, and it was over the course of 6 weeks. It was summer holidays.
Mhm.
So I lost around 3.5 stones, which is quite a lot of weight.
Right.
They could fit in my trousers. And then I went one leg of the trousers, and then
Right.
I could, I went back to school, just went over straight over to my friends and started talking to them as if nothing had happened, and they didn't even recognize me. They said, "Who are you? But you're not Paul. You're not Paul. You used to be. You can't. You are. How did you?" And but it was strange because I didn't actually think I'd lost weight. In my head, I thought I was the same person, and that it wasn't working, and
Yes.
it was really strange.
Yeah.
I mean, I weighed myself, but I still didn't believe that I was losing weight. I saw changes even on the scales, slow ones, but I just thought that I was not able to lose it. And even when I looked in the mirror, it was so strange. But I saw a larger person than I was.
Yeah.
regardless of how my clothes were fitting. It's such a strange feeling, but I can relate to that. And then I did put on weight again, so I had to deal with my mind, and I did work on myself when I understood that. I didn't fully understand that at the time, but then I had to work on that aspect of myself, and realize that what you put in, you do get out. So yeah, but that's interesting that you mentioned that, and thanks for that. That's interesting.
You're welcome. I read this book called Psychocybernetics, and it's a plastic surgeon who talks about how he would do surgery on people, and depending on how they felt inside is how the surgery came out. So if it was
Mm.
somebody who did it because they felt unworthy, or they felt like they wanted better attention, or they wanted whatever, the surgery could have been done perfectly. But they would come out and look in the mirror the same as you did, and they would see the same person pre-surgery and say, it didn't work. What you did wasn't right.
Oh,
This and nothing's changed. And he's going, okay, I have before and after pictures. And they still, and if it was somebody who literally was just like, they felt great about their self, but they just wanted a change of something or whatever, then the surgery was great. But all in all, he was a world-class surgeon. So it's not like he did bad surgeries. So, but it's one of those things where I believe meditation gives you the visualization is everything. I tell my clients all the time, if you don't have somewhere to go better mentally, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to
yeah.
stay the same person, seeing the same results, seeing the same situations. So visualization to me is key, because if you were to believe everything that's right there in front of you, well, you're pretty limited. So you're only going to get limited results. We are right here at the 14-minute mark, so I'm going to let you go ahead and
Okay.
to what you were going to take us into. For those of you watching, when we get done here today, we will have another session on Saturday at noon. It won't be all the same material. Some of it may be the same, but it's just a couple days of looking into meditation, helping you feel more comfortable. Don't forget to get his book on meditation. I mean, come on. The
Oh,
guy has what you need in a book. Get it. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to inbox. We're both here to trying to heal people one person at a time, and that's what we're here to do, is to serve. So the book's available. He has a lot of stuff online. I have stuff online. You guys, we're not going anywhere. If you haven't joined our actual Facebook group, it's
yeah.
called Positive Mindset Group. It will go live on Saturday on that group as well. We hadn't attached it yet. So go join that group. It's a place you can go where you're going to get, your happy meal every day. You're going to get something to make you smile. It's not going to be one of those places where you see the news or where you see something frightening or whatever. It's literally just good stuff for you, dedicated to you. So come join us on that page. Take it away, Paul.
Wonderful. So, if you can just find a place where you won't be disturbed, where you can sit safely, where you're safe, and where you can sit comfortably. And when you find that place, just we won't start immediately, but what we're going to do is just focus on several aspects of your external world, and then move in slowly and focus on just natural breathing, and then move deeper in and focus on how to channel the breath in a particular way. And I'll talk to you about that when we start the actual practice.
Okay.
All right. So if you found your place,
Yes.
sit straight, sit relaxed, sit comfortably, and let's start by running a quick check on all the muscle groups in your body. So, are any muscle groups in your body tense? And yeah, you can keep your eyes open for the moment. So keep your eyes open and feel, are your shoulders tense?
Mm-hmm.
Are you frowning unnecessarily? Are you slouched? Now, this is a good tension, bringing your body up, keeping your body upright. Yeah? So there should be some tension in your spine to hold it upright. That's good. And are you resting your feet, or are you placing your feet behind the chair in a funny position where there's tension? So place your feet flat on the ground. And like Amy said earlier, you don't have to go into a lotus pose or anything of that sort. Just relax your legs, relax your arms, relax your mind. And I'm going to keep my eyes open. But if you can, you're not driving or doing anything which requires your eyes to be open. Yeah, please don't do that. Keep your eyes closed, but make sure you're not driving or doing anything that you shouldn't be while meditating. And I'm going to put on some music. And all I want you to do is to listen to the music. So you hear some music in the background just coming into the meditation slowly and steadily. And I want you to become aware of the energy behind the music, the calming nature of the music. But I also want you to become aware of any other sounds around you. What else do you hear? Don't try and drown them out. Can you hear your child screaming in the background? Can you hear someone calling you? Can you hear your breath? Can you hear any birds? Any traffic? Really tune in and experience any sounds around you. Don't just focus on the music, any sounds around you. It's really good. Now, let's go deeper. And I want you to sense every single thing you can feel. Feel the seat that you are sitting on. Feel the ground and feel your clothes on your body. Feel your hands resting on your lap and pressing into your thighs. That's good. And feel any temperature change in your body. Are your legs a different temperature to the rest of your body? Are they tingling around your calves? Very good. Keep sensing. And as you keep sensing, I want you to delve deeper now, trusting that I will bring you out of the meditation in time, delving deeper inside yourself as you feel any sensations in your mouth. Is there a particular taste in your mouth? Can you feel any sensations in your mouth? Can you smell anything? Is there perfume in the air or the smell of cooking? Or is the air not tainted with anything at all? As we delve deeper, as with all meditation, we now focus on your breath. I want you to sense it, feel it, experience it. Feel the air entering your body. And your breathing is probably, at this point in time, very shallow. It's because you're not moving around. You don't need that much oxygen. So feel inside now the temperature of the air that is filling your body and leaving it. Just feeling and sensing the coolness of the air as it comes in and the warmth as it leaves your body. And for a minute or so, I just want you to make that process your entire universe. Feel and sense the air. So do that now. Just drawing back to the breath each time your mind wanders. Don't worry about tension. Don't worry about when this will end. Don't worry about will this end. Just drawing back to the breath. That's good. Now, as you focus on the breath, I want you to imagine in your mind's eye that your out-breath and your in-breath have a magnetic characteristic, that they are able to latch on to thoughts that reside in your mind. And as you continue your natural breathing process, I want you to imagine that your breath is latching on to any negative thoughts and pulling them out of your mind. Just using your imagination and using trust that your breath is magnetized in a way in which it will pull all negative thoughts out of your mind. And that your in-breath is pulling in the energy of control. That your in-breath is pulling in the energy of understanding that really no negative thought exists. There's no real distinction between negative and positive. And that thought processes are subjective. And as we feed that powerful information into your mind, for the last few minutes, I want you to control your breath like one of the previous sessions we had. So I want you to breathe deeply, slowly, and consciously in a moment. In for a count of 4 and out with control for a count of 8. And I will count with you. So let's begin. Breathing in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath gently. Breathe out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If that count didn't resonate with you, you can alter it, but I'll keep counting. Breathe in for 4. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4. And out for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wonderful. Return to your normal breathing, and in 3 seconds now, when I count to 3, wake up and feel refreshed and feel completely alert and ready for the rest of your day or to turn in for the night. So, ready. 1, 2, waking up, and 3, open your eyes. So wherever you are, open your eyes, and
Oh,
see how you feel.
yes. You know, I want to say that you just have to do it. And I know that some people may get frustrated because they feel as if, you know, they can't sit still. It's funny because don't we demand that of our 2-year-old and our 3-year-old? Don't we demand for them to sit still? And yet as an adult, we have so much going on. I'm telling you, meditation is a true test sometimes to see how well you are with yourself. Because there
Yes.
was even in one moment where I was even like, okay, why am I worried about, this or that? Because I'm in meditation. Be in meditation. So I will encourage those of you who just feel like you can't do it. You can extend your time. You can start with 15 seconds. You can start with 2 minutes. You can start with whatever. So don't feel like you have to start out with a 20-minute meditation. And don't be upset with yourself if you find your mind kind of drifting. You know what I mean? Because some people get upset with themselves. They're like, oh, I just couldn't concentrate, or oh, it's a being thing, not a trying thing. So just be. Just be. There is no punishment. We're so used to, if we don't do things right, that we get in trouble. Meditation is not about doing it right. It's about getting better and better. So don't punish yourself. So thank you so much for that extra meditation. It's like a candy store. When you get somebody who wants to meditate, I'm always like, yes, yes.
That's really interesting. I mean, I have, it's sad to see so many people who will say, I can't meditate, I can't do it because I can't sit there for long enough. And you're right. When you said that, I can, some memories are coming back to me of people who have said that I'd love to, but I can't do it. And it's a shame that they've put that restriction on themselves. Sometimes it's also a good idea to say something positive to yourself and say, I'm going to try it. I'm just going to do my best. Or I am a meditator, and try to fool your mind slowly into believing that, even if it's for a few seconds, I'm a meditator now.
Yeah.
Then that can help a lot, actually.
And it's that thing, like we talked about, the visualization, I have my own, I write out my goals, but then I also have a vision board. Vision board is important to me because it gives me somewhere to go.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Think in pictures. So, I mean, my thing is, if you don't have a picture in your mind, if you have already made up your mind, which I call is the unknowing meditating. So you're not knowing that you're meditating on this person that cannot meditate, then that's what you're going to get, is the person who cannot meditate. But if you change that picture and you see somebody who can meditate, and you see somebody who's already doing it, then you will become it, because you are what you are. So it's very important that you honor yourself in a positive way, because like I said, I'm convinced we're either sleepwalking in a meditation of this world that we keep believing, so we keep seeing, or we are creating in a true meditative state by choice, and we're creating there. If not, we are just existing and falling into the same pathway. So I think
that's the truth. I believe that.
Yeah. So you guys, I'm sorry I've held you a couple minutes over. I hope that if you're watching it on replay, you're just as important. Those of you who watch us live, thank you for taking the time out. I hope that you will share this video with your friends who may be curious or have questions. From now till Saturday, if you do have any questions, maybe they're specific to a type of meditation or any kind of question for Paul or I, make sure that you inbox us. We have a whole, what is today? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's 4 days for you to come up with some kind of questions or some kind of whatever, and we will address them when we first come on. So if you have any questions from today's, what you watched, or maybe you just have a question you wanted to ask either of us, just inbox. You can do it on his page, my page, it doesn't matter. Just inbox, and we will address those questions before we even start Saturday at the very beginning. So that way the question is being answered. And I want to remind all of you, from my heart to yours, that you are beautiful and you are amazing and you're loved and you're capable. And meditation just helps you sometimes embrace that and get closer to the truest person that you are. It's nothing to fear. It's nothing that's sacrilegious or something that belongs to a certain religion. It's something that belongs to you. It's rightfully yours. From the beginning of time, people have been meditating, and may not have called it certain, they may not have labeled it a certain meditation, but you hear biblical stories about where Jesus went out into the woods and he walked for long hours, or you hear about great leaders, or you hear about meditation has always been there because they found that there was power and clarity in being still. In fact, biblical says, be still and know that I am God. So I encourage all of you to join us on Saturday and to give us any questions that you have. That's all I have. Paul, anything?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, There's the famous quote from Jesus himself, the kingdom of God is within, right? So very interesting what you said.
All right. God bless you guys, and make sure you tell yourself at least 2 times a day, I can. Yes, you can. I will. Yes, you will. And I am so worth it. Yes, you are. God bless you, and we'll see you on Saturday at noon.
Take care, everyone.